Hi, my name is Sophie Summers and welcome to the second in this series of videos entitled Being the Best You Can Be. Now in our first video we had a quick look at establishing your skin tone and more importantly identifying 3 ways in which you can identify your skin's undertone. Now we're going to build on that information in this second video by having a look at colour theory and how colours can complement or distract from your undertones. So if you'd like to find out a little bit more, please join me after the break. So welcome back. In this section we're going to be calling upon this little implement here, which is a colour wheel, and diving into a little bit about colour theory. Please don't panic. I'm not going to go into it too deep because I know it can be a little bit sort of straining and possibly a little bit boring, but I think it's important just to understand how colours go together, what colours do match each other, so that we can use that knowledge to establish which particular eyeshadow combinations work best for your undertones and give you the best sort of glowing appearance. So let's get into colour theory and how to use the colour wheel. Okay, so let's have a look at this lovely implement here called a colour wheel. It does help us out tremendously when we're trying to find out sort of colours that suit us in terms of clothing and cosmetics. First of all, on the outside there's a whole range of colours, but let me start off with focusing on the primary colours. For those of you who can't remember, our primary colours are blue, yellow and red. And just to back that little bit of a statement up, the primary colours can't be achieved by mixing colours together. So if we then go down to our next level, which is what they call secondary level, what we get now is our colours of, if we mix a red for instance with a yellow, we will get or achieve an orange shade. If I mix a primary colour of yellow with blue, I will get green, and if I mix blue with red, I will get a violet. So those are our secondary colours. Now to go down one level further to what they call the tertiary colours, they're achieved by mixing a primary colour, in this case red, with a secondary colour, orange. So if I mix red and orange together, I get this reddish orange shade. Now if I was to take my primary colour here of blue and mix it with my secondary colour of violet, I get a bluey violet. And if I come around this side here and mix my yellow here with my secondary colour of an orange, I get a yellow orange. So as you can see, we're building up a triangle or a mass of colour shades. Now on our previous video we spent a little bit of time in establishing what our actual skin tones were, and surprisingly or not surprisingly, on this wheel colours are sort of classified as cool colours and warm colours. So what I'm going to do here is just drop a little piece of paper across this axis here. Now all the colours that we can see here going around the wheel are referred to as our warm colours. These are the sort of yellows and the oranges, progressing around to the reds and the red violets. So those are all of our warm tones. Now if I split the wheel going back the other way, we can see that all these colours down here can be referred to as cool colours or cool tones. And this is green and blue based, and then going out a little bit to the bluey violet sort of shades there. So that's going to help us out to identify the types of colours for outfits that we would like to wear and also for our makeup. Now one thing I would like to point out at this stage is what they call complementary colours. So if you are looking at a blue for instance here on this wheel, diametrically opposite to blue is orange. Now orange is a complementary colour to blue, and really what it means by a complementary colour are really colours to avoid. So if you were for instance wearing a red dress, you don't really want too much green in it. It's the same when you're putting together your eyeshadows. If you were wearing a sort of violet colour eyeshadow for argument's sake, diametrically opposite, you don't want to really have yellow tones in your, or yellow shades within your range of eyeshadows. So that's what we mean by complementary, so it's opposites. So an opposite to orange would be blue, an opposite to red would be green, so forth and so on using this particular wheel. Now, one other thing we need to consider is obviously those are just block colours. These are referred to on the outside as actually as hues, not really colours. If I turn the wheel over, what I've got on the back is a little bit more detail. Now, if I take the yellow, for instance, up here, I've got 3 different shades, and these 3 different shades are achieved, or they are tints, tones, and shade. So the top is a tint, a tone, and a shade, and these are achieved by adding a white to the yellow. Will make this tint colour here. If I had grey to yellow, it will give me this tone of yellow here, and if I add a degree of black to the yellow, I get this shade of yellow down here. So you can see that just by adding a white, a grey colour, or a black into it, we get a greater degree of colours available to us in the same hue. So that's why our range of eyeshadows, for instance, can be quite baffling when people say, oh, I look quite good in a purple. Yes, but what sort of colour of purple is it? Is it a tint, is it a tone, or is it a shade of purple? And they can have some effect on the final look. But the important thing here is to understand how these particular colours relate to your personal undertones and your skin tone. Well, hopefully you didn't find that too either baffling or too boring. So should you wish to purchase a colour wheel of your own, I will link down below where you can purchase one of those from, should you wish to do so. Now, armed with all of those, all that new knowledge of colour combinations, what I'm going to do is to present a couple of slides using 12 colour combinations to start off with based on violet. Now, these slides plus more will be available on our website, and again you can find the link down below in the description should you wish to print them off as a PDF. So without further ado, let's have a look at the 12 colour combinations we can use based on the colour violet. Of course, this is not the only 12 colour combination you can use. There are lots of colour combinations, but these sort of 12 that I put together here are quite appealing on the eye and not offensive. So as you can see, we've got the colour violet, which, just to clarify a few things here, is a warm tone. So those of you who have warm tones, this could be particularly interesting. Now, what I'm going to do to make it a little bit more specific is concentrate on just 6 of these colour combinations and use them for our eyeshadows. So moving on to the next slide here, what I've done is I've numbered them from 1 to 3. So where the number 3 is obviously the violet shade, and that is the colour that we would generally put on our eyelid. Now, slightly to the right of the screen, there are 7 sort of traditional methods that you can use to do your eyes with using eyeshadow. I'm sure a lot of you are very familiar with them, particularly things like a smoky eye or a fan shape, maybe even a full crease or a sort of cut crease. But the method that you wish to do your eyes is obviously totally dependent upon you. But the numbers really relate to as follows. The lighter colour, which is given the colour number 1, is generally put around the brow bone area there to draw the light up on your eye, whilst we've already established that the violet colour, which is number 3, is placed on the lid. Now, we do need a transition colour, and that is given the number 2. So if you look at these here, we're starting with the darker colour of the violet and then having an intermediate colour out to a very light lifting colour here. So you can use any of these colour combinations here, having a warm tone, and I think your eyes are going to pop out quite dramatically. So as well as the 12 colour combinations for the violet, we've also put together 12 colour combinations for navy blue, and a further 12 colour combinations for a reddish orange. Now, should you wish to get your hands on those particular slides, please feel free to visit our website, which is www.crossdressing/lifestyle.com. The link is down below. There you can find the PDFs to download and keep them for your good selves as a gift from us to you. So that really concludes our little look at colour theory and how to use the colour wheel. We hope you found it of interest. If you have, please give us a good old thumbs up. We'd really appreciate it. If you've not already subscribed to our channel, please consider doing so. We'd love to have you on board. And all that remains for me to say is please stay safe, stay with us, and as always, stay gorgeous.